Round 2 of the NBA playoffs start in just under 5 hours. We had 3 dramatic Game 7s this weekend to wrap up round 1, and we'll get to all of that in just a moment. But first, Sixers, Knicks, Timberwolves, Spurs will get the conference semis started, and Shams has the latest. Senior insider, Shams Charania with me now. And the first question of the day, Shams, what is Anthony Edwards' status for Game 1 in San Antonio?
George, this just in, Anthony Edwards has received medical clearance and is expected to play tonight in Game 1 against the San Antonio Spurs, barring any setback in his pregame warm-ups. He's been pushing and really planning on trying to give this a go in Game 1 tonight. He's made unforeseen progress in the last 24 hours. He did most of everything in shoot-around this morning in San Antonio. He's medically checking all the boxes, and Timberwolves doctors will monitor his pregame routine and then give him the final sign-off. But just 9 days after suffering that bone bruise and hyperextension in his left knee, and the team believing that at the earliest he would be back Game 3 or Game 4, he pushed and really wanted to go tonight. I'm told he did multiple different treatment options, including the hyperbaric chamber over the last several days to try to see if he can get back. So Anthony Edwards will go through his pregame warm-up tonight with the intention of playing as this season tips off.
Wow, great
the series
stuff.
Tips off, I should say.
Yep. Thank you, Shams. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for the information. All right, we are here in studio alongside Brian Windhorst, Janelle Gumake, and Danny Green. I'm George Sedano in for Malika. Brian, we'll start with you. How big a development is this?
I mean, I've seen Ant Edwards recover from like rolled ankles and stuff like that, and I've been like, wow, I can't believe it. But unexpected progress. You don't hear that about a knee injury too often. And not only is it a huge lift for just the overall psyche of the Wolves, who weren't sure they were going to have him for Game 1, it's a huge strategic move because Ant Edwards has given the Spurs all kinds of trouble this year. He has dominated at times against them. Now, look, I don't want to overreact to regular season games, but look at those numbers.
Yeah.
And so the Spurs, I'm sure, knew they were going to have to deal with Ant at some point. I'm sure they're reevaluating their game plan a little bit right now, knowing they got to deal with him right out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I said, he's like Wolverine, the way
Yeah.
he's healing. I didn't expect him to come back this soon, but this is more, I think, of a mental and emotional lift for this group, if anything. He may be a little hobbled out there. How much his pain tolerance he can, handle. We may not see a full health, but at least he's a threat out there. It opens up the floor for everybody else that can hoop. But this is a big plus for this group, and that's going on against a challenging San Antonio Spurs team.
I don't know. I feel like we're underselling this. This is huge.
Yeah.
This is huge. Going into the matchup without Anthony Edwards, we're like, oh, the Spurs probably are expected to win, right? Because it's not just him, it's Dante DiVincenzo, and they've been getting huge performances from the supporting cast, from the role players. But walking into a series knowing that man is available is a game changer for me. Yeah. And you talk about him being hobbled. We saw when he was hobbled versus the Denver Nuggets. Yeah. Isn't that where he went off?
Yeah.
So even a not 100% Anthony Edwards is capable of shocking us in a huge way. To me, when you looked at this, I was like, okay, the Spurs are ahead. Now it's like getting super leveled.
Yeah, I think we're not underselling it. Ant is great, but I think even with a healthy Anthony Edwards, we're just looking at how different the San Antonio Spurs are to the Denver Nuggets.
Wait, but this is a Minnesota team that has been to 2 conference finals. This isn't the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah. And this was a huge opportunity for the supporting cast to step up, and they've done exactly that and then some. Jaden McDaniels coming off of a 30-plus point game. I know Ayo Dosunmu was probably questionable. He had a 40-point game in the series. Terrence Shannon was dunking on everybody. Like, everyone's confidence is high, and then now you reinsert the superstar. It changes a lot for me.
I think it's a real series now, for sure, when you look at the fact that Anthony is going to be healthy. But, all right, we'll get back to that in just a second. But before we talk, let's get...
Anytime you can get Earth, Wind, and Fire on the show, it's a good show. Last time we saw the Spurs, they were putting the finishing touches on a dominant series win over the Blazers. Now, almost a week later, San Antonio will host Minnesota tonight, Game 1 of their second-round series. Victor Wembanyama acquitting himself well in his first-ever playoff series, averaging 21 points, nearly 9 rebounds, and 4 blocks against Portland. NBA reporter Michael C. Wright is with us. Michael, the matchup of big men in this series is quite fascinating. Victor Wembanyama against fellow Frenchman Rudy Gobert. What jumps out to you about those two players heading into this series?
Well, Jay, for me, what jumps out is this video that's floating around the internet. And the video is of a 16-year-old Victor Wembanyama. He's teamed up with Maxime Reynaud of the Sacramento Kings, and they're going against Rudy Gobert and Vincent Poirier of the French national team. Well, in that video, Victor Wembanyama is giving Rudy Gobert buckets. But Victor said what you didn't see was that afterwards, they went into the weight room. They watched how Rudy Gobert prepared, how he lifted, how he took care of his body. And Victor said that just that interaction inspired him, and it was a big part of his NBA journey. Victor said that Rudy Gobert should be a role model for every NBA big out there as far as taking care of your body. And obviously, the guy has won 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, and he had the series of his life against Nikola Jokic in the first round against the Denver Nuggets. So Victor Wembanyama is really looking forward to this matchup against his fellow countrymen.
Okay. The Spurs haven't played since last Tuesday. What can you tell us about how they prepared for this series?
Well, you know, it's interesting. So the first couple of days of preparation, it was all about looking inward because the San Antonio Spurs didn't know who their opponent was going to be. So what they did was they sort of reviewed everything they did against the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, going into that series, the Spurs had a bunch of goals that they set as far as what they wanted to limit with the Portland Trail Blazers. They wanted to hold them to a certain amount of second chance points, transition buckets, paint scoring. They wanted to hold them to certain levels. So they really were trying to see basically if they were maintaining sort of their standard in that first round. But as soon as Minnesota eliminated Denver in that first round, the attention immediately shifted to the Timberwolves. Now, De'Aaron Fox, he said that it was almost like preparing how NFL teams prepare for games. He said there was a day of just strictly offense, there was a day of strictly defense, and then there was an install day where they installed specific concepts that were specific to this matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
All right, game 1, Wolves, Spurs tonight. Michael C. Wright, appreciate the insight. Let us head back over to the East in game 1, round 2, 76ers and Knicks. Philly completing the comeback over Boston, powered by Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid's historic effort. They're the first teammates in NBA history to each have at least 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in a game 7. NBA reporter Tim Bontemps back with us now. Tim, I just mentioned Embiid and Maxey. VJ Edgecombe, another star to watch. What challenge does this Maxey and Edgecombe backcourt present for New York?
Yeah, this is going to be one of the real battlegrounds of this series, Jay, where the Knicks on defense are going to have to try to find a way to slow down Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, and they're also going to have to find a place to hide Jalen Brunson on defense, because those two guys are both extremely quick and capable of attacking him on the offensive end of the court and wearing down a guy who, as we know, is going to have the ball in his hands a ton and is going to be trying to hunt Joel Embiid in that drop coverage at the other end of the court. That was something Jalen Brunson had a ton of success in this matchup between these two teams a couple of years ago. And we saw Tyrese Maxey make the 2 big buckets in the final 2 minutes of Game 7 to seal that win for the Philadelphia 76ers over the Celtics on Saturday. He has obviously emerged into a full-blown all-NBA caliber player. VJ Edgecombe, the rookie 3rd overall pick, finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year, voting behind Cooper Flagg and Con Knuppel from the Hornets. But he has been excellent in these playoffs, also had a big Game 7, and it showed he's not afraid of the moment. Very interesting to see how that matchup plays out over the 7 games.
All right, Tim Bontemps, thank you much.